Okay. My apologies to y'all. My apologies for that. I had to go take care of something real quick, but for real this time, I'm going to stay on this stream for as long as I possibly can and give my 2 cents. Once again, today's topic: paternity fraud and no fault divorce laws. So, yeah, as I said earlier, women have spent years and years committing paternity fraud, and nobody holds them accountable for their bad behavior. They thought they can just be irresponsible with their damn wombs, have kids out of wedlock or whatever, and then try to get some sucker to try to take care of their kids. That's in order and play stepdaddy. That's bad enough. But then when you in a relationship or married to a man, you try to deceive him into thinking that this is your child. These are your kids. And then he finds out that they're not his kids after taking a DNA test. I mean, seriously, I've heard stories of men who find out years down the line that their sons or daughters were never theirs. They're biologically someone else's. And that puts men in a bad disposition, mainly because they spent years bonding with the kids, being called daddy by the kids. So imagine how it's going to make you feel as a man when you come to realize that the same people that's been calling you daddy for 5, 6, 7 years to a decade are not really your kids, and you're not really their daddy, honestly. And the women of today act like they just don't give a damn. They believe in their messed up minds that as long as they have a child, they have a family together, as long as he's there to take care of the kids, everything is all good. Seriously, what the hell? I mean, to give a man a child through deceitfulness is just the most heinous thing any woman could ever do. Think of it like this. Let's say you bought a car from a car dealership or whatever. You take the car, it checks out fine, everything is good, but then you find out some days later that the guy who sold you the car stole it from somebody. Yeah, the same car you've been riding around in for days on end actually belonged to somebody else. Are you going to keep that car? No, you're not. Why? Because there's no honor in keeping something that was never yours to begin with and given to you through deceitfulness. So in the case of paternity fraud, why should we as men keep kids that were never ours to begin with and belong to some other man? There's no honor in deceiving someone into thinking that something belongs to you. And there's no honor in you keeping something that was given to you through deceitfulness. That's the bottom line. So we don't need women pulling these BS games just so they can get some guy that they probably never loved to take care of kids that ain't theirs. So I'm kind of happy Tennessee is passing this law. I say praise the Lord. I'm thankful that they're finally stepping up and doing what needs to be done to keep this kind of nonsense from happening, because it's just mind-boggling. It is totally, totally mind-boggling. Because I've heard women say, oh, well, women take care of kids that ain't theirs all the time. So what's the big difference? The big difference is night and day. Women choose to take care of kids. These women that you're speaking of will adopt kids after signing some documentations, some legal documentation saying that they're going to take in this child or take in his children. That's one thing, but we're talking about you deceiving a man to thinking that you're the father. That's not the same fucking thing, okay? That is not the same damn thing. And these women know that. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure to understand that. You ain't got to be no straight A genius to understand that. You know damn well that those kids, you know damn well you have no business taking care of a child that is not yours. And these bras know damn well that men should not be taking care of kids that ain't theirs, but they don't care. They know it's wrong, but they know the laws are always going to favor them over the men. They know that, and they're just capitalizing. Like, what do people like to say? What is that old saying? Give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. So yeah, by not holding women accountable for paternity fraud, you're basically giving women free reign to just not only be irresponsible with their womb, but to be deceitful when it comes to who the father is. So that's just crazy. So now they're passing a law in Tennessee where women have to get paternity tests to verify that this guy or that guy's a father. And I know they're going to be pissed off at it because now they can't get away with tricking men into thinking that they're the fathers of the kids. So we all know where this is going to go. We all know where this is going to go. We all know how this is all going to go down. They're going to be deceived into thinking that these kids, they're going to be deceived thinking that they're the fathers, and it's just going to go all downhill from there. Because I've heard too many stories of men being victims of paternity fraud, and the women get absolutely no freaking punishment for it. It's nonsense. I'm telling you, it's just total nonsense. Oh, and by the way, I figured some of y'all might be at work, some of y'all might be busy, so I'm just going to post a link a little early before we get into the reaction videos. So yeah, the link is right here. Anybody that's want to come up, anybody in the chat listening, you want to come up and speak your piece on anything, the link is right there, pinned to the top. So feel free to come up and speak your piece on anything. Again, we're talking about paternity fraud. And of course, the next topic, the next thing, the no-fault divorces. For those of y'all that don't know, no-fault divorces are divorces. It's a process where a married couple can get divorced and don't have to explain a damn thing to the judge. Never mind who cheated, never mind who was abusive. They can just get divorced, no questions asked. And so many females are taking advantage of that to the point where it's just becoming chaotic. It's just becoming totally chaotic. Women are just taking advantage of everything. And the no-fault divorce is no different. And thanks to no-fault divorces, women can marry a man today, divorce him within a couple of years, and not have to explain anything. It could be, oh well, I was just bored, it just wasn't working out. No. Now they got another law in Tennessee where you have to prove that this person was abusive. Both man and wife have to prove the other was abusive. This is the reason why it didn't work out. So no. So with mandatory paternity fraud, with mandatory paternity tests, and the elimination of no-fault divorces, women are irate because now they understand, at least in Tennessee anyway, that they can no longer take advantage of the legal system just to get over on men. No more tricking men to thinking that they're the fathers of their kids, and no more divorcing men just because they're basically bored. That's not going to happen anymore. No longer will that be happening. So of course women are going to get pissed off at it. I can't say I'm surprised. I honestly can't say I am surprised. It's just total nonsense, I'm telling you. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So now women are probably flabbergasted. They don't know what to do. Well, I know what they can do. How about you comply with the rules? How about y'all stop committing paternity fraud and be responsible with your damn wounds? As far as no-fault divorces are concerned, well, unless you've been abused by this man and he is legit abusive, if one of y'all or both of y'all are legit abusive, y'all need to prove that shit before you go to the divorce courts. Both man and woman need to prove that they're just not fit to be married anymore, instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm bored. I want out of this." No, that's not happening. And I want to say they need to eliminate alimony and child support, but I think they've already worked on that. So that's something. So that's something else right there. I believe they have it to where if a man's not the father of the child, he can't be put on child support or anything. Or you can't just pick a random dude to be put on child support for kids that ain't his. They're already cracking down on that. So I have hopes. I'm completely for it. Okay, now give me a second for to get my video session set up. Okay, welcome back, Cynical One. Again, my apologies for that. Had to go take care of something. Yeesh. And y'all wonder why I do these streams late at night. That's why nobody can bother me. Shit. I understand that y'all be at work or whatever, but the reason I do these streams late at night is because I don't want to be bothered by any interruptions while I'm doing these streams. And that doesn't happen often at night. Okay, everybody, everything is set up. Now, for my first video, hold on a minute. Let me know if you can see this. Well, if I can see it, y'all can see it. So what am I saying? Okay, shout out to the Manhood. Subscribe to his channel if you like his content. He puts out some great stuff, much like the Gent. Shout out to them. And this one is said, the title is Modern Women Don't Want Paternity Fraud to Be Criminalized. This should be a good one. As usual, I got the link in the chat early because I understand some of y'all be at work and y'all may not be able to necessarily chime in later on in the stream. So I thought I'd do things a little differently. So I got the link already in the chat. And by the way, thanks a lot, Swag, for letting me know how to pin it in the chat. I finally figured that out. So anybody that want to come up, link is right here. Anybody, I don't care who, anybody can come up here, speak their piece on this. Today's topic, paternity fraud laws. And here's a video by, what's the name, the Manhood. Let's hear what this gentleman has to say. Fair use, people, fair use. Okay, that's the intro.
From fake DNA tests to carefully crafted lies, these master manipulators stop at nothing to perpetuate their twisted charade. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most despicable acts that can shatter lives and tear families apart: paternity fraud.
Damn right.
Prepare yourselves, because we're about to expose the infuriating truth behind why some women engage in this deceitful practice, and the
oh, this should be good. This should be good.
devastating consequences they should face.
Oh, I thought that was an ad. My bad. Continue.
5 years in prison for failing to pay child support for the defendant, Miss Sears' son, Dylan.
Right.
Mr. Manser, you are not.
Oh God.
his father.
Well. Look at that bullshit. And this said this will be in villain origin story. Yep, that's what it sounds like. So this man spent 5 years in prison paying child support for a kid that wasn't even his. Ain't that about some shit? This is ridiculous. And this is what I'm talking about here. Again, this guy here spent 5 years in jail paying child support for a kid that wasn't even his to begin with. Ain't that about some shit? What do you think about that, Cynical? Imagine serving time in jail paying for child support for some kid that wasn't even yours to begin with. Oh, my Lord. Let's hear the rest of this. Fair use, fair use.
Oh man. 5 years in prison.
Do you know?
Oh, and she knows who the father is. Ain't that about her? Oh, Lord almighty. Listen, okay. The video just started. I'm already getting agitated, but I'm trying to hold it together. And that's a good point. Imagine what they'll do to the black man. That's a good point. This is a Caucasian couple, but hey, Killer Swag said, I got 7 views and a short I did with this same clip. You got damn near 7,000 views on a short I did with this same clip. Damn. Shout out to you, Swag. Killer Swag, get that bad. Don't care about them price tags. Nice of you to join me up here. You said use this same clip and got over 7,000 views. Okay. I'm not sure if it's going to work for me, but we'll try it anyway. Again, but you probably always saw the video, Swag, but this dude spent 5 years in jail because he didn't pay child support for a kid that wasn't his. Ain't that about some shit? Ain't that about a motherfucker? Salute to you, homie. Salute to you. Let's hear the rest of it. And she says she knows who the father is. Let's hear this.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talked to him still.
and you talk to him still. You's a motherfucker.
You are not the father.
You sure? Are you sure? By the way, it's music, so I gotta mute it. Due to the music, I gotta mute it. Yeah, shout out to you, Killer Swag. Glad you could join. You think Sweet Melody can join us? So I can have Killing Them Sweet, bringing the heat on H&M's channel. And by the way, guys, the link is in the description. I finally found out how to pin the link actually in the chat. So if you want to come up here and speak your piece on this, feel free to do so. If you're too busy, well, I ain't gonna worry about it. Keep giving me the support. Cynical said, I believe in child support, but also believe in paternity fraud. That's a good point. She probably asleep right now. All right. I ain't gonna worry about it. She probably asleep. Bro, it's 10 o'clock it's 10 o'clock at night. I know her ass ain't sleep already. But then again, if she worked the early morning shift, which I did at one point in my last job, I get it. Hell, your ass, I'm surprised your ass ain't sleep, but okay, it is what it is. It is what it is, my guy. Okay, Cynical One said like mandatory DNA readings. Exactly. All right, let's get back into this. I had to mute it because there's audio in here. Fair use, fair use. Hold on. All right, here we go.
Let's get one thing straight right from the start. Paternity fraud is an act of pure betrayal.
Damn right.
Perpetrated by women who are willing to play with innocent lives for their own selfish gains. It's time we shed light on this dark secret.
Please.
Why do women commit paternity fraud? Well,
that's a good question.
There are a few reasons, none of which excuse their actions. Some women do it for financial motives, seeking child support payments from unsuspecting men who are led to believe they'd fathered a child. It's a cold, calculated move to exploit someone's...
I'm an early bird myself, so I can relate, Swag, but good to hear. All right, fair use.
Trust and generosity. Others do it out of revenge or spite, aiming to punish a man they feel wronged them in some way. They use an innocent child as a weapon, manipulating emotions and causing immense pain to both the child and the falsely accused father.
You know the sad part about all this is that at the ending of the day, it's the kids who suffer the most. Imagine that. The same guy you've been calling daddy or father or pops for 10, 15, 20 years, you find out that's not your real father. How that's going to make you feel as the child? Seriously. How would that make you feel? Can any of y'all imagine that? I don't care who answers this question, but how would y'all feel if the same man you've been calling dad or father for 10, 15, 20 years was not your real father after some paternity test? How would that make y'all feel in the long run? Anybody can answer in the comments. But until then, fair use, fair use, fair use.
It's beyond comprehension.
In the case of
my bad.
Miller versus Rasmussen, when it comes to 3-year-old Zaylee Rasmussen, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
What the hell is she happy about? Shit.
Respect. Miss Miller. I'm sorry. That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child. That's a lot of nerve.
Tell him, Judge. Tell him. I mean, tell her, Judge. Tell her.
A lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
You're damn right. Tell her, Judge. She said that's a lot of nerve, you know, considering that you dealt with a man that wanted nothing to do with you or your child. And now you're up here trying to get this man to play stepdaddy, or in this case, be the father, knowing he ain't the father.
A lot of nerve.
You're damn right.
You just showed me where your priorities were right there. Because I held out hope that you weren't just acting a fool because you so mad at him because he cheated on you that you would cheat your child out of a father.
Now, granted, is anything wrong for cheating? Yes, but you know what they say, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So fair use.
That cheering you did? What you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child.
Damn. Ooh, y'all heard that. You happy now that you're a single mother with no boyfriend or husband. You got to raise them kids by your damn self. Ooh. That's like celebrating being terminated from your own job. Seriously, there's nothing sweet about this. In fact, it's a bitter loss, if anything. It's a loss for her, if anything. And once again, like I said, it's the kids that are going to suffer because of stupidity like this, honestly. All right, fair use.
I'm not. No, you were. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much.
And that's the crazy thing about it. You get attached to a child for some years, only to find out you ain't the real daddy. Oh, God almighty. Tell her, Judge, I love this stuff. Keep talking, Judge. Fair use.
I sit here day after day after day with women hoping a man would drive 16 miles to see their baby, much less 160 miles each way, and abide by a court order.
Wow.
You are not the father.
Are not the father. Hold on. Look at this man shedding a tear. Ain't that about a bee?
I told you so.
I told you so. So you knew? Oh God. I told you so. So she basically knew. And look at this. Look at that look on her face. Okay. Hold on. Look at this look on her goddamn face. I told you so. Look at that look on her face. She like, I told you so. How do you think this man feel? Oh, God almighty. If y'all listening to this, man, let me know how y'all feel about this. Look at this woman. Look at that look on her face. And like she just ain't got a care in the world even though she just proved that he's not the father of their child or children or whatever the case is. Ain't that about some shit? Okay. Continue, fair use.
I'm sorry, Mr. G.
This motherfucker damn near crying. Seriously. Oh my.
But let's not forget the heart-wrenching consequences of paternity fraud. Innocent men are financially burdened, emotionally scared, and robbed of precious time with their own flesh and blood. Children are denied the opportunity to have a meaningful relationship with their real fathers, forced to live a lie. These women who commit paternity fraud must be held accountable for their actions. They should face severe consequences, including legal penalties and financial reparations to the victims they deceived. Society cannot afford to turn a blind eye to such heinous acts. We need stricter laws and regulations to protect men from paternity fraud. Mandatory DNA testing at birth would ensure the truth is revealed, preventing any manipulation or deceit. Paternity fraud runs rampant in the United States and across the globe, and it's an absolute disgrace. The so-called reliable American Association of Blood Banks has released a shocking research report from accredited parentage laboratories. Brace yourself for the truth. A staggering 3 out of every 10 men tested were cruelly deceived and found out they are not the biological father.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Can you believe it? And this mind-boggling revelation is based on a hopping 300,000 DNA paternity testing cases analyzed, which means approximately 100,000 men have been unjustly labeled as fathers. It's crucial to note that these results were derived from legal DNA testing, not even considering the peace of mind DNA tests. Hold on, it gets worse. According to
it gets worse, huh? Do tell.
the esteemed International Journal of Epidemiology and Health, the global scenario is equally horrifying. Brace yourself for this infuriating statistic. 1 out of every 25 men worldwide is unknowingly raising another man's child. Let that sink in. These poor men are pouring their hearts, their time, and their hard-earned resources into raising a child that isn't even theirs.
Ain't that about some shit? As I said earlier, it's bad enough that men are raising kids that were never theirs to begin with. But imagine if you're a child and the same guy you've been calling daddy or father for years was never your real father. What does that mean? Oh, God. And by the way, you just spelled criminalized, but...
This sheer betrayal and deceit are absolutely outrageous. How can we allow such an egregious violation of trust to persist? It's an affront to every man who has dedicated himself to fatherhood. The gravity of these statistics should enrage us all and compel us to take action against this abominable practice. It's time to bring attention to this despicable issue and demand justice for the countless innocent men who have been wronged. Enough is enough. It's absolutely infuriating how the system works when it comes to paternity claims. If a mother decides to choose a potential father based on her own assumptions about who will be a better provider, it's the man who bears the burden of proving her wrong. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And to make matters worse, the time frame for challenging paternity is ridiculously limited, varying from a mere 6 months to a paltry 2 years, depending on the state. But that's not all. In most states, they have the audacity to presume that a child born to a married couple automatically belongs to the husband.
Well, based on what we hear, we know that can't always be the case. They say marry before you carry. Well, hell. For all you know, that woman could be carrying another man's child. We don't know that for sure. And I think that's just sad. Ain't that about something? When you hear about these married couples that are pregnant while they're engaged, you would think that that child is theirs. He's the biological father, and of course, she's the mother. But you know what they say? Mama's baby, father's maybe. So even if you're married to a woman, there's no guarantee that that child is yours. You don't know how many men she smashed before she got engaged to you. Oh man. So that's crazy. They say marry before you carry, but ain't that about something? Oh man. Okay, fair use.
Regardless of any evidence to the contrary. And what's the rationale behind this? Oh, it's to maintain the so-called stability of the family structure. Give me a break. It's nothing but an excuse.
Really cynical, the milkman. You killing me. You could have said mailman, the mechanic, or somebody, the taxi driver, but the milkman of all people. Wow. Anyways, fair use.
To avoid dealing with the truth and denying justice to men who may be wrongly labeled as fathers. It's a damn shame that submitting DNA samples from a married couple is considered inappropriate by the courts. Are they afraid of upsetting the delicate balance of the family?
It's considered wrong by the courts. Oh, that winner.
It's a damn shame that submitting DNA samples from a married couple is considered inappropriate by the courts.
Okay, who the hell says that? Who the hell says that submitting DNA tests to the courts, submitting DNA tests for a married couple is inappropriate, but it's considered inappropriate by the courts? Who says that? This is how these bros get away with the shit. This is how they get away with it. You're welcome, cynical. Or it could be her friend or her friend. Her guy friend, you mean? Yep. Oh my God. Who says that? So if you're married to someone and y'all want a paternity test, the courts label that inappropriate. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I decide to put a ring on your finger, we have a kid together, you're gonna take a goddamn paternity test. Otherwise, there's no wedding. I don't care at this point. Why should I go? And not only that, I'm gonna choose my partner wisely. And that's another thing. As men, we have to choose our women wisely. Don't try to deal with the female that you know got a body count, the one that be running the streets, always got, always got this man, that man, the whole nine. You got to choose your partners wisely. Or his friend, the guy, her husband's friend. You know what? I've heard stories of men who marry women, get them pregnant, only to find out years later that the father of the child is actually his best friend. Oh my God. Or worse, they have a child, and then they have a child while they're married. He's a biological father. The wife cheats or has an affair with the husband's best friend, and now she's pregnant with his kid. That happens. Believe me, that does happen. But it's crazy. So we need to drop this. So yes, men need to choose just as carefully as women do. Don't choose a 304. If she has a job that requires, I don't know, that I'm gonna say if she has a job that inquires any kind of sexuality or physical beauty, such as working at a strip club or being an OnlyFans or whatever the hell, don't deal with her. If she does something like working at a bar or working at, I don't know if Hooters is that bad or anything like that, but I'm gonna say if she does something, any occupation that may incur some sexuality, don't deal with her. Please don't. Because chances are she got options with a lot of men, and you ain't the only one she's dealing with. She said the brakes Curtis blow. Okay, then. Anyways, fair use, fair use.
Are they afraid of upsetting the delicate balance of the family? Well, guess what?
What?
The truth matters.
Mm-hmm.
The rights of individuals matter. It's time to stop prioritizing an outdated notion of family stability over fairness and justice. This whole system reeks of bias and unfairness. Men deserve the right to challenge paternity claims without being constrained by arbitrary deadlines and presumptions based on marital status. It's high time we demand a change and fight against this grossly unjust treatment of fathers. That's all for today on Manhood, guys. Don't forget to...
Well, that's the end of the video. Oh, my God. My God. Oh, man. It's okay, people. I'm trying to find another video covering this same topic. Give me a second to get everything set up. Again, the link is in the description if you want to come up and discuss this with me. Thank you, Miss Cynical. My bad. I was on mute the whole time. My bad. I'm so sorry. God damn. I've been streaming for at least a couple weeks now, so damn, I'm still getting used to this stuff. So please forgive me, my girl. Don't hold that against me. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever. Let's try this again, shall we? You already saw the title. Again, shout out to Dee Dee Willis, and the title of this video is Mandatory Paternity Test Immediately After Birth. New law stop paternity fraud. It's a crime. So yeah, they're making it a crime now. And it's always a crime. Not that paternity talk was ever legal to begin with, but now they're treating it like any other crime. Let's see what this gentleman has to say. Fair use, fair use.
All right, don't scroll away because I learned about another interesting law that's changing. Two of them, in fact.
What are
so
they?
The first one is that they are going to start mandating paternity tests at the time of birth for children. The reason why is when they do get maternity tests, turns out that 1/3 of the fathers are not the biological father.
Ain't that about some shit? 1/3. You hear that? 1/3 are not the fathers. Fair use.
The other one is that they're going to be changing the child support laws so that if you can't collect child support unless it's from the biological father, and the biological father must have actually been a part of your life, meaning that a one-night stand cannot be held for child support.
So in other words, if you have a one-night stand with a guy, or a one-night hookup or a fling with a guy, he gets you pregnant, guess what? You can't put that man on child support because he was not involved in your life like that. So ladies, let this be a lesson to you. Be responsible with your damn wombs. Because in Tennessee, they got a law to where you can't just give your womb to some dude, have him get you pregnant. He can just dip out and not get on child support. No, he's not going to be paying child support now. So let that be a warning to y'all. Be responsible with your wombs.
The person actually had to play a significant role in your life. So I think the law is trying to incentivize that you stay loyal. Doesn't seem like a crazy change to me. What do you guys think about it?
Sick.
Now, granted, I will say this, though. He says stay loyal, which is the way it needs to be. Now, if y'all ladies feel like, well, I got to stay loyal to this guy whether I like it or not, I'm forcing myself to stay loyal to this guy whether I like it or not. Well, sweetie, no one told you to choose that man. Y'all chose each other. So if you find it hard to stay loyal to a guy that you're having a baby by, that don't have kids by him at all. Don't choose this motherfucker at all. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. When he said forced loyalty, that means, well, you better be responsible with your damn womb. And if you have kids by a man, you better be with that. You better be with that man. He better be a significant part of your life, because you can't just put this man on child support. Like I said earlier, put him on child support, even though y'all had a one-night fling together. If the child's a result of a one-night fling, then no. Now they got to where you can't put them on child support. All right, let's continue. Fair use.
Excited and happy for the fact that at least like men are not going to be put through the same thing that a lot have been through for years now. Like at least I hope it's going to like spread around everywhere, because I think men really they deserve to know who the father is. Like, are they the father of the child that they're going to be taking care of or be in the life of that child? Because it's just crazy to find out that after how many years you've been taking care of a child that literally is not even yours. Like, how crazy can that be?
So those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests.
Wow. House Bill 2689. Maternity fraud is a crime.
It's before you sign the birth certificate. Because, when people do paternity tests, 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father. And if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down.
I mean, there's so many possibilities out there. They take one paternity test, now they want another one, another one, and another one, and another one. Oh, God. All these different men that could possibly be the fathers. Oh, my God.
It's going to be dramatic. And right now they're starting to also add in things like, maternity fraud is a crime, a punishable crime. So guys used to go to jail for not paying child support on a child that wasn't theirs, because the state wants to get their money. Because if there is no father to pay for the child support, somebody has to pay for it. So they push it onto the nearest person that can be a father figure. And they're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud.
You hear that, ladies? Now you can actually be put in the state of Tennessee. If you commit paternity fraud, your ass will be locked up in jail. So those y'all that live in Tennessee, you better remember that. You live in the Tennessee area, you better remember that. If you commit paternity fraud and there's evidence against you that he's not the father, or the guy that you say is the father is not the father, you will be serving time in jail. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Now we can hold women accountable. Now we can finally hold women accountable. Because the only reason women do the shit that they do is because they notice there's no consequences behind it. So I say, let it burn. Let it come on. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Anyways, fair use, fair use.
Because it is such a rampant crime. And yes, it's a crime.
These laws will dramatically affect women more than it will men. Statistically speaking, it is the women in the relationship 80 to 90% of the time. This is what they're trying to prevent.
Right.
So forced marriages is what the Christian right is pushing now, to put women back into the house or keep their...
I can't even say forced marriages. Nobody forces you to do anything. It should be your conscious decision to get married. And for those of y'all out there, this may seem like oppression. This may seem like slavery. But guess what? It said to put women back into the house and keep them there. Well, that's what kept families alive back in the day. When women stayed home, cooked, cleaned, nurtured, took care of the household while the husband went out and worked, that's what kept families together. Not this whole women's liberation, which is damn near destroying our community as we know it. Ugh, man, it's something else out there, I tell you. And by the way, I don't think it's forced marriages. And we'll get into this marriage part later. Right now, we're going to talk about paternity fraud.
Them there. You can always pay to have a test in your own, but I agree, always have the test. You never know, honestly.
Correct.
So men can just run around and spread their seed without consequences?
That is not what the fuck we're saying. We didn't say men could just spread their seed around. We never said anything about a man can just run around and spread their seed anywhere without consequences. And this is why I tell ladies, don't choose men like this. If you know a nigga's an irresponsible douchebag with kids all over the damn place, no, don't even deal with that man. Now, from what I understand is this. If you have a child by a man and you're not in any way connected to that man, you're not connected to him, like your son or daughter with the result of a one-night fling, you cannot put him on child support. You cannot put that man on child support. That's how that works. You could just get some sucker out there and put him on child support by lying to him, and telling him that he's the father. That's just not going to work anymore. And Seneca will say, unless they're arranged marriage. Yeah, that might be the only way. But then again, you can't arrange marriage is not quite in the same light as a forced marriage. So maybe that might work. At least if it's arranged, it's done by two responsible people that know what's best for their kids. So maybe that'll work. And to address this comment, so men can just run around and spread their seed without consequences, I do believe that there are consequences behind spreading your seed. Your value is going to plummet. That's one thing. And who knows? You may mess around and catch something. And you can only put on child support if you have some close ties to that woman. So if y'all dated for a couple of years, lived together, whatever, there's some close tiedness. Yes, there are consequences for that. But the goal here is to keep these females from committing paternity fraud and promote them, try to promote being responsible with your womb. And I do agree, men need to be responsible with their penises. Yes. That's just as important, because we don't need these men having kids all over the place like freaking Nick Cannon has been doing. We don't need that kind of bullshit either. So I'm all for men being responsible with their penises, but this is not to promote reckless sexuality amongst men. I'm just saying. Fair use, fair use. It's to benefit both genders.
Bunch of women gonna be mad. Can't trap men anymore.
Right. And yes, that's a good point, Cynical. Unless she's married to an abusive ass tyrant, then no, there's no getting out of this. And by the way, I'm going to get into the no fault divorce aspect later. Unless you're married to a type of tyrant type dude, yeah. You got to prove he's abusive, prove he's this. You can't just say, hey, he did this, that, and the third. You got to prove that stuff. This is not about oppressing women. It's about holding both men and women accountable for their fucked up ass behavior, plain and simple. All right, fair use, fair use. He said, I don't care who's mad. This is a good thing. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, Miss Cynical once said, the only thing separating Nick Cannon and that financially strapped serial predator is money and fame. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Nick Cannon got money like that. But unfortunately, a lot of average guys like myself, we don't have that kind of money. So it's probably no wonder he wasn't held to the same standard as other people. He got money like that, so maybe he can do that. I recommend you don't do that. But hey, if Cynical, I recommend you stay away from guys like Nick Cannon. Because in no way are we trying to promote men being irresponsible with their damn seed. That is not the goal here. This is not what they're going for. They're trying to stop paternity fraud. Again, fair use, fair use. The dude who has a bunch of baby mamas, correct. I have no sympathy. And for the record, I have no sympathies for those guys either. And honestly, Cynical, I have no sympathy for dudes who are being irresponsible with their seed. Honestly, they're going to get theirs one day. Because one day some chick going to put them on child support because they have, if they dated for a long time or whatever. Remember, if you have no close ties to the man, according to this new law, like if you had a one night stand with this guy, it's not going to cut. You can't put him on child support. That's not going to work. And I trust you won't do that. You better be responsible with your womb, and you better make sure that guy responsible with his damn seed. She said, a serial baby daddy, you know they're not into condoms. That's why I can't feel sorry for them. You fuck around and catch something, that's your ass. STDs are a thing. Well, I could have told you that. Shit, I could have told you that. They are a thing now. They've always been a thing, and they'll continue to be a thing. Even the ones that are curable, yes, they're going to continue to be a thing. But anyway, let's get back into it. Fair use, fair use. Let's see what this chick has to say.
Because it is such a rampant crime.
So I don't agree with a lot that they do in politics, but I agree with this one.
Okay.
The hustle is over. The scams are done in the state of Tennessee. And I know some of y'all feel like, well, why should we have to do all of this? They should trust me, because y'all be lying. The women.
You're damn right. Thank you, my sister. Finally, a woman calling out the nonsense. So let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Women be lying. And if you know that this is his baby without a shadow of a doubt, husband, boyfriend, baby daddy, it don't matter who it is. Let him go on and get that paternity test, sis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Somebody give her a round of applause for this sister, because she's absolutely right. If you know he's the father, what the fuck you got to hide? All this, you got to just be able to trust me. You got to be able to trust me. No, we ain't doing that no more. All the stuff we hear about paternity fraud, no, we just not doing it. It's just not happening. She said, I know that, but those are those people who live raw sex. Okay, love raw sex. That's the people who love raw sex. Okay, I get it. And I trust, whatever dude you're dealing with, you better make sure he wrap it up. Like I say, no erections without protections, okay? Remember that. No erections without protections, okay? All right, let's see what else she has to say.
If you want to up and up, it shouldn't bother you. And for all of those women out there faking pregnancy to scam men, ooh, y'all big mad now, ain't you? It has to say.
I don't know how you can fake a pregnancy, but okay. But she was spot on with that. If you have nothing to hide from this man, What's stopping you from getting a paternity test? And that's what they're upset about. No longer can they just get away with this kind of nonsense.
That's a hell of a thing. A maternity test doesn't determine who the father is. But you know what?
What? A maternity test doesn't determine who the father is? What?
I'm all for this. I think we absolutely should do mandatory paternity tests for every baby born ever. Because I, for one, am exhausted listening to men cry about how much they do not want to ever take care of their own child.
What? This is not about men not taking care of their own child. It's about them not taking care of somebody else's child. If it's your child, okay, then step up and take care of the kids or child or whatever. We're talking about women deceiving men into thinking that their children are theirs. That's what they're trying to avoid. So what the hell are you doing moving the goalpost with that nonsense? You're sick and tired of men crying about taking care of their own children? No, we're trying to avoid taking care of kids that are not ours. Oh God, fair use.
Much less anyone else's. Because children are fucking suck. And man, these women just keep having them all by themselves. Never taking accountability for all these kids they're coming up with out of nowhere with no sperm at all. All these women who can't keep their legs closed. But wait, don't keep your legs closed because I need sex. Men need sex, my dear.
Yes, people need sex, but I said you're going to play the game, you better play it right. Like I said, no erection without protection. Let's continue.
Sure. So which is it? Do you need sex or do you need us to keep our legs closed? Or
at your own discretion, there's a time and place for everything. You ever thought about that?
Do you just want to control women?
Control women. Seriously? So I guess in your fucked up ass mind, changing the laws to where paternity fraud is going to be criminalized and women can no longer get away with it is considered controlling a woman. Ain't that about some shit? Y'all hearing that? She think this is just an attempt to control women. No, we're just trying to protect innocent men from y'all bullshit. In this case, paternity fraud. Innocent men don't need to be locked up in jail for paying child support for kids that they're not even theirs. And innocent men don't have to suffer because the child that they thought was theirs was never theirs. We don't need that bullshit plaguing our society. And now y'all just big mad because they finally caught on to the nonsense. They finally caught on to the bullshit. And now they don't want it. And now they're going to fix this. Anytime we have laws or regulations that don't benefit women, you're goddamn right they're going to get pissed off. Anything to make the sides equal or to give men some kind of leverage is definitely going to make women upset. That's the bottom line. Fair use, fair use.
And our periods.
I told you all, women are going to be mad and pissed about this whole thing. And it's like when you showed no mercy, right? When the laws were in your favor, then how can you expect mercy to be shown to you? You would think women are like when you're growing up, they'll be telling you, oh, women are so soft, they're soft creatures, they're so nice, kind. And then you see the wickedness that women put, like the things that they do, and you'd be amazed. It's like, is this really the soft women that we hear about? Like they have a soft heart, and then they be putting men through all those things, and you'd be like, damn, like are women really, really, really kind and nice? Because I don't understand. Who is the most wicked creature on earth? This comment says, I'm still pissed about part 3. Sounds like if it was a one-night stand or a FWB, he won't be held responsible because she was being frivolous.
Frivolous.
Yep, it's her fault for sleeping with him.
You're damn right it is. That's why I tell women, choose your partners wisely. And if a child comes out of it, it's both of y'all goddamn's fault. But if he's not the father, then why should he be held accountable for a child that's not even his? Whoever she slept with prior to that, then hell, let him take responsibility for that child.
You as a woman is the one who actually gives access.
Correct.
You are given access in that kind of situation. Most situations, apart from the part of maybe a rapist. So in this kind of situation, you are the one who's letting him have access to you. Let's do mandatory vasectomies if you want to. Then get the snip.
This woman said, let's do mandatory vasectomies. If you want to bitch then get a snip snip. So you rather men just get vasectomy so they can't get women pregnant. Oh God Almighty. Mandatory vasectomies. That's your big combat against mandatory paternity tests. You got to prove that this man is the biological father of your child, and now you have to say is, well, maybe now men should just get vasectomies. You know what? Some men are actually doing that, from what I understand. Men are actually getting vasectomies, believe it or not. This way they can't. This way they can't get a woman pregnant, and they can't, be put on child support, and they can't become a victim of paternity fraud. But I'm not finna sit up here and say every man should do that. Why would you make it mandatory that every man get a vasectomy? What about those of us that want to have kids? What about the men out here who want to get married and start a family? I got to get a vasectomy before I marry my wife? Is that what you're talking about? So you see how nonsensical this comment is. Let's do mandatory vasectomies. If you want to bitch, then get a snip snip. But what about the people out there that want relationships, that want to actually have kids? So if I want to marry Miss Cynical, for example, I got to get a vasectomy now. That way I won't be able to get her pregnant. Oh, you're still there, Miss Cynical. You knew people who got vasectomies? Okay. This comment just basically implied that if you and me were to get married or have a relationship, for example, I must get a vasectomy. That way I can't get you pregnant. Never mind the fact that you may want to have my child. Never mind the fact that you may want to start a family with me. I got to get a vasectomy. That's their solution. Oh, my God. Vasectomy should be optional and be done at your own discretion. Not this lame bullshit this woman is talking about. Oh, my God. Fair use, fair use.
I think women full on need to have a sex strike.
Have a sex strike. Well, a sex strike probably won't bother me as much, seeing as how you can possibly get falsely accused of something just for even having consensual sex with a woman. And besides, as men, we can go longer without sex. We don't get enough of it. Most of us don't get a lot of it as it is. And like we out here smashing different chick every night. So they went on sex strike, and it would probably bother them more so than us. But that's just my take. Fair use.
You can do that. It's an option. It's an option. Honestly, it's an option. Can you imagine the amount of rapists that will start using that as an excuse?
Can you imagine the amount of, RAP-ist that will start using that as an excuse? Oh my gosh. Now, granted, that's never an acceptable act to assault a woman and deliberately get her pregnant. But I will say this though, men who do shit like this, they need a good ass whooping. Now she got to prove that this guy did this, that, and the third. Everything checks out. He's going to get not only an ass whooping, but he's going to get time in jail. Fuck child support. Guys like this should be locked up. So honestly, when it comes to RIP-ist, those guys should be locked up, not put on child support. They need a good ass whooping and should be put in jail. So never mind putting them on child support or having them take care of kids that ain't theirs. No. Y'all got this whole thing mixed up. We're trying to protect men from being considered fathers to kids that are not even theirs. This ain't got nothing to do with letting men run around and be loosey-goosey with their wee-wees, or in this case, having men assault women left and right, get them pregnant, just like that, they can walk away scot-free. No. Men who do stuff like this will be punished to the fullest extent of the law and will get time in jail. So clearly, they're misconstruing how this whole thing operates. But let's continue. Fair use.
It's time to shut down the coochie. Yeah, you guys better shut it down. You got to do what you got to do. Think of what you need to do for yourself. And
hey, child support, I take care of mine. I just want to throw it out there that you have like Cash App on your profile, videos asking for money. Like that is like the clinical definition of not taking care of yours. Just saying.
My bad, y'all, but these ads are ridiculous. Here we go.
Taking care of yours. Just saying.
It's about damn time.
Yeah.
And this don't need to happen just in Tennessee. This needs to happen nationwide.
I have a feeling it's coming, brother. I got a feeling it's coming.
This child support and all this other shit is bullshit. It's all designed to keep the man down and put the money in the female's hands because women are spenders. Women are the most spending people on this earth. They spend more money than the men because the men are savers. Men,
yep, savers, hunter gatherers, savers, and preservers.
Try to keep the money in the house and build on something. Women are spenders. That's why the government put all the power, try to make the woman the breadwinner in the household, because
that makes sense when you think about it. They spend the most and they want the most. So that's why they want to make them. That's just more money in their pockets. The more these ladies spend, the more money that goes to the white man, aka the governor. That's just more money, taxpayers' money, spending lots and lots of money on shit you probably don't need. More money in their pockets.
She's gonna spend the money.
Compare that to a man that's gonna be responsible with his money and not spend as much. So yeah, it's a conspiracy to tear us down when you think about it.
Facts. I don't care what y'all say. The women spend the money. The women is what's keeping this economy going because they spend the money. Men try to save their money and build. Jerry Springer and Maury haven't shown this nation that these women are avoiding accountability through the system. What other proof do you need? All I'm saying, all these women that's on Section 8, they got all these men on child support that's not even the father. They got to sign the birth certificate before he put his name. He got to take a DNA test before he put his name on the birth certificate. And if he's found that he's not the father and this woman is receiving government assistance, that's going to jail. So I suggest y'all women that...
You're damn right. Now that's something. He just basically said that if a paternity test checks out that he's not the father of her child and she's still getting government assistance, her ass going to fucking jail. This ain't about oppressing women. It's about punishing them for fucked up behavior. You let your fuckery go on for way too long, and it's time to stop. Time to put an end to the bullshit. Plain and simple. Time to put an end to the bullshit. The bullshit. Plain and simple. Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, fair use.
If you got a bomb at dude that you got pregnant by, hey, you just got a bump your daddy. It's a wrap for you. You found out to be fraud, you're going to jail. This shit, that's all I'm saying, man. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the fireworks because this is gonna be exciting.
Damn right it will.
Y'all can't avoid too much. Y'all can't avoid accountability too much.
I'm telling you, the women are gonna be so pissed, like, cause for the fact that they've had to like like many of them. I think this thing is going to reduce a lot of promiscuity that is happening within women. Like, and then at the end of the day,
exactly, that's my point. Women are going to start being more responsible and respectful towards their bodies and their damn wombs. No more giving their cooch out to random guys.
You can just pinpoint any man and be like, this is the father. And you don't even know if he's the father. Because I've heard of a lot of situations where some men will literally ask the women, like, okay, can we go and get like a test before you take me to actually get child support? And they're like, oh, well, like, now I don't really want a test. And it's like, why are you rejecting it? Because you don't even trust yourself, because you know he might not be the father. And the worst thing is that they're confused. They don't even know who the.
And at this point, I don't see the point even telling females that you're going to get a paternity test. Just do it when she's not around. In fact, that might be the best thing to do.
The father is. So maybe this will reduce a lot of promiscuity, and you have a lot to lose as a woman. You know, going out there. Okay, you want to compete with men. Men don't really have a lot to lose. Who's going to deal with having like childbirth and all of that, and searching for the real father because you decided to be promiscuous? That's the end of this video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I'm really happy about this, and I wish and I pray that it's something that is actually practiced in almost every state, so that many men will actually get a relief from all of this. And even if it is not even something that's a law, I think by all means, if you're trying to rush you to actually sign a birth certificate, you better go make sure that you check if that child is truly yours and get a DNA test. Like, if you have the money and you can afford it, it's better to, I think it's cheaper for you to get a DNA test than for you to spend money for like 18 good years, more than maybe 18 years possibly, or 18 good years of a child's life that is not your child. And the father is just there somewhere, balling, living his life, and you. It's just painful. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure you click the like button.
And that's the video. And there you go. It's happening, people. My, oh my. By the way, anybody want to come up? The link is in the description. I'll post it again just to be sure. Okay, give me a second. Okay, here we go again. Okay, this is the last video talking about the whole thing about paternity fraud. So let's go and, okay, first off, shout out to The Wall. This next video is by The Wall. Subscribe to his channel if you want to. Let's get into this video. This one is called Mandatory Paternity Test, Tendency Changes the Game for Women. This will be my last video dealing with paternity fraud. I think by this point we get the picture, but fair use, fair use. Nice intro.
All right, so those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is proof of paternity before. And yes, it's a crime.
This Representative Antonio Parkinson is sponsoring House Bill 2698 that would require DNA evidence proving paternity before a man signs a birth certificate for a child that may not be biologically his.
You're damn
The
right.
state has been turning a blind eye to this by allowing people to sign blindly without any proof of DNA association to this child, which is allowing people to be guilty, or in some cases, of paternity fraud, which is a crime. It's only right and the moral thing to do, an ethical thing to do, to ensure that the right people's names that match their DNA is on that birth certificate. Anything other than that, you are stealing a child from a biological parent.
That's a good point. You're basically taking in a child that is not even yours. It belongs to another man. And like I said earlier, I saw a video where a woman argued that, well, women take care of kids that ain't theirs all the time. Well, you can adopt a child if you want to at your own discretion, but it's not the same fucking thing as you committing paternity fraud. It's not the same damn thing as you deceiving a man to thinking that this child is yours when really it belongs to somebody else. That's not the same freaking thing. And this law is going to put an end to that bullshit. And as I said in the previous section, it ain't about giving men the power to be irresponsible with their womb or allowing these, how should I put, attackers to, impregnate women and get away with it. Because people who act like that, they're going to get theirs in some shape, form, or fashion. Attackers are going to get time in jail if they ever get caught, which most likely they will get caught at some point in time. And the men being irresponsible with their wombs or whatever, being irresponsible with their seeds, yeah, they're going to mess with the wrong kind of woman. One day, the woman that he has some sort of ties to is going to put his ass on child support because he's been irresponsible with his seed. It only applies if it's someone that he knows and had a kid by, he can't just run away from that. No, they won't allow that. So that's the whole thing. It's not about oppressing women. It's about controlling a dynamic that prevents paternity fraud. That's all it really is. How you gonna say oppression towards women when you're committing paternity fraud at the expense of innocent men? Seriously, anything that benefits a woman is considered oppression, but fair use.
And it's state sanctioned.
3,000 women, since their divorce, decided to stop working and live off the sweat of someone else's brow in a capitalist country where every penny must be hard. A man has to spend his entire life supporting someone who chose not to return to work. Finally, a fair law for men. This should have been approved a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not only in Florida, but nationwide.
I completely understand where you're coming from with the DNA testing should be mandatory, but it has to be a little bit more nuanced than that. So is the DNA test mandatory anytime he calls for it? Yes, absolutely. You should be able to say, I want to know that for sure that little brat running around over there straight came out of my ball sack. This I have to know because I am legally obligated to pay for it. And I'm not paying for it if it came out of somebody else's ball sack. And that
makes sense to me.
Case, 100%. But should it be mandatory in every single case, irregardless of all circumstances? Now you're asking people to give up liberty. Because the last time we heard mandatory, it involved a pokey pokey and it ruined a lot of lives. So
a pokey pokey.
Oh, that's just my gut pushback. It's just like, you've got to be so super careful when you decide everybody must. It's just this really slippery slope. But for men that want it, game on like Donkey Kong.
That's a good point. Game on like Donkey Kong. So and I cannot understand what she's saying. Let's say a woman gets pregnant by a dude that committed SA against her. Now she got to get a test to prove that this knucklehead is actually the father of her child. Okay. I understand when they say mandatory, that means everybody has to do it. I understand that. And now, here's the thing about it. The reason they're making it mandatory is because you got the women out here that fucked up the system for everybody else. Okay, think of it like this, people. Think back to elementary school, where if one student did something wrong, the whole class got in trouble. Think of it like that. You do something wrong, guess what? The whole school gets in trouble. For example, a guy brings a firearm or weapon to school. Now everybody got to submit to a security search, whether they did something wrong or not. It don't matter. I can't walk through the door without having my bag checked because one knucklehead's had to bring a knife to school. Ain't that about some shit? That's what's going on here. A bunch of innocent women who may have legit intent and might be legitimate, and this man could be the legit father of the child. Now I got to go through a mandatory paternity test, all because females before her fucked it up for her. Kind of like in the same vein that a kid from elementary school bringing a weapon to school is fucking it up for everybody else that's innocent. Because now everybody got to get checked. Everybody got to get searched. Everybody got to go through the same process. So no, don't get mad at the system. Get mad at those dumbasses who ruined it for you. That's the best way to sum that up. Get mad at the dumb people out there that corrupted and ruined and took advantage of the system. They're the reason why all this is happening. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Do you know what would happen if DNA testing was mandatory? They tested all women. You don't know. Calamity.
My sister told me the other day, it should be standard. My sister told me that last week.
That's why they won't do it.
She said it should be a standard thing at the hospital.
That's why they won't do it.
A standard at the hospital. Oh, do tell.
To me, it just makes sense. Give an epidural, DNA test.
I'm doing a documentary on the court system here in the UK.
Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. He puts out some good stuff.
And I was interviewing this guy. He works for, it's called Fathers for Justice, and they help men get custody of their kids. And one thing I found out is in the UK, you are actually given a free counsel, which is a lawyer basically, if you accuse your husband of abuse. And what the women can do is they can accuse the guy of abuse and file a restraining order against him, even if he did nothing. And if he breaks that, he actually goes to jail.
You know how that goes. Believe all women, right? Fair use.
Yeah. And it can take 1 to 2 years to even get the kid back. So you could have a newborn and not see the kid for 2 years over a false allegation.
That sucks ass. Believe me, that sucks.
Welcome to the Democratic Party. This made me laugh, of course. Nothing bothers you until it comes for your money. I've met women who still have boyfriends and won't remarry to keep receiving this money. It's just so good to get a check without working. And if this man increases his income, you can go after more money for a lifetime, while you can go to Chad's house, watch Netflix, while the simp supports you. What a good life, brothers. Brothers, give a like to this video so that it reaches more people who can find it useful. Today, more than ever, we must spread this message to more men so that this law can be approved. With your support, by liking and sharing, we can make this reach farther and make our voices heard.
Whoa, they ain't ready. They are not ready for this story. There's a bill out of Memphis, Tennessee that's being proposed for it makes it mandatory for unmarried fathers to take DNA tests to sign birth certificates. You know what that means, fellas?
What?
That means that you ain't got to worry about you're the father. You're the father because I said so. What if I'm not the father? You ever thought about that? So what you're saying is that you're not.
It's best to question how many other niggas did she smash before you, before or after you.
Gonna take care of us? Oh, this is not your baby now. I wasn't with you for these past 2 years. I'm not saying you was with me for the last past years. I know that, but who else were you with? Oh, I see what you on. The only thing I'm on is to find out if this baby is mine or not. So, you know, there's a lot of guys that have lost out on so much time because they've been taking care of kids that were theirs. Not saying that it's not a problem to do so, but at least give me the right to know if that's my child or not. I just hope that this bill makes it to be law. It's just something that I personally, for me, is very important to know that this is happening now, because for so many years, it just seems like guys have not been getting the break they needed. So again, look at this bill, guys. It's out of Memphis, Tennessee. The article came from Fox 13 down there. So check it out, guys. I'm telling you, this bill is serious. After all, you know, a lot of men have lost their jobs. You know, a lot of people have lost their licenses and stuff for driving because of child support. This stuff is real. This is really real, and it affects so many people. And on top of that, You know, it just needs to be done. I mean, fathers deserve that much. As you can see, they ain't ready for this. No, they ain't ready.
I can imagine. They ain't ready for this shit here. They ain't ready for us to start taking our power back.
It's funny because it's true.
Damn right.
Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because, you know, when people do paternity tests 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father. And if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down. They're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud because it is such a rampant crime. And yes, it's a crime.
Hallelujah. This needs to go nationwide.
Damn right it does.
But at least it's the first step. Progress, not perfection. But in the meantime, I advise any male that I know to get yourself a DNA kit and swab that child's mouth, because you'd be surprised just how many of those kids belong to another man.
Wow.
Women do this all the time. I'm a woman. I hear what's going on.
I believe you.
They'll usually attribute that child, even if that child is from someone else, they'll attribute that child to the best man, the man they feel has the most money or the best ability to be a father. Please, guys, get those babies swabbed.
This will reduce divorce petitions because the divorce rate is at 80%. There are many women who receive alimony when they've only been married for less than 5 years. I have to support you for a lifetime. That's slavery, brothers. Just think about it. There are 3,000 women in the state living off alimony. Can you imagine being married for 5 years and then supporting someone for 15 years who doesn't even live with you?
I am so excited to see this. Gone are the days coming soon where women can commit paternity fraud. Here is an article from the Tennessean, and it's going around online. State Representative Antonio Parkinson proposed this bill, and this is going to hold women accountable for being irresponsible and falsely accusing a man of being the father of her child and making him pay child support for a child that is not his. You know, there are plenty of cases, like there's an example in this article that explains that there was a man that was deemed not the biological father soon after he had already signed a certificate voluntarily that he is the father, because his assumption was that he was the father. He trusted this woman.
You can never assume anything these days. You never can.
Then he found out she basically cheated on him. And 5 years into it, he still is responsible to pay child support. But he was not able to make the payments, so he had his license revoked and then got caught driving without his license. So what happened? He got placed in jail. Life ruined. Childhood ruined. Relationship with the father probably ruined, non-existent with the biological father or the father that wanted to be in that child's life. All of this can be prevented if you just have mandatory DNA tests.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And like I said earlier, for those of y'all that have legitimate intentions when it comes to raising a family, and he is a biological father, y'all got to suffer because of the dumbasses out there that ruined it for all of you. Just have to reiterate that. But fair use, fair use.
Common sense, right? But there's going to be an uproar over common sense, because common sense and right versus wrong isn't always emphasized when it comes to America. There's billions of dollars that is being given out, that is budgeted in the state and the federal government because of this issue of trying to cover up the fact that there are so many kids, 30% of the time, who are being provided for by men that did not produce those children. It is billions that's at stake. So they're going to say things in court like, somebody's got to feed him, and it'll be you, because he voluntarily signed that paperwork. House Bill 2698, Senate Bill 1777. Unwed fathers can still voluntarily sign, but in order for the birth certificate to be officially validated, the signer must provide the results of a DNA test to vital records.
Makes sense to me. Shit. Makes perfect sense. Before you sign on that dotted line on the birth certificate, you got to prove you are the father of these kids. Makes sense to me. I mean, we wouldn't have to go through all this bullshit if we didn't have so many females committing paternity fraud. So who's really at fault here? The ladies are.
They said here, $52 million in funding received from the federal government for its child support enforcement programs. That's ridiculous. And that they could receive millions more for reaching a quota of 90% acknowledged births. They're not acknowledging legitimately. They're just trying to fill in the paperwork so they can write that check. And this is the man that men of America have to thank for his initiative, because this is heroic. This is going to help children out having the truth. This is going to help men get the justice that they deserve moving forward if this gets passed, even though obviously they want to kill the bill. And it's going to force women to be more responsible and to take accountability for their crappy ways of how they want to milk men of their finances. There you have it.
Brother, if they wanted someone to support them so much, why didn't they stay married as they promised in their vows?
Right.
She claims that the benefit of marriage was that her man would take care of her. But she also says that you should take care of your man and you fulfilled your part of the deal. Of course not. The deal is fine when they're the ones being supported, but when you have to take care of your man, that's where the business ends. Why should a woman who was with you for only 2 years be eligible for alimony? In 2 years of a relationship, that woman suddenly became unable to work. How did she support herself in the other years?
She probably quit her job.
It's all well and good if you lasted 20 years and are very old now, then maybe you could access it.
Yeah.
But if you didn't even make it to 10, why should they expect you to take care of them if you didn't take care of your man?
I think that the United States making DNA testing mandatory is stupid. I don't think that.
Why do you think it's stupid? Explain yourself before I get agitated.
You know, it's something that if you feel like you need a DNA test, go do that on your own time because you feel that way. I don't think every person, there's millions of people in the United States. Like, it doesn't make sense that people could be using that time to do other things. Like, you could be saving a life. You could be in a hospital saving a life. I personally pay taxes.
So you're saying get a DNA test without your woman knowing about it. If that's what she's saying, then hey, whatever. It is what it is. I don't have to tell her anything. I'm going to find out for myself if that child is mine or not. And if it ain't mine, I'm out.
And I care about where my money goes. I'm not here to pay for so-and-so because there's a confusion about who's the father. That's not my business. Handle your personal shit. And for me, I want to fund schools. I want to fund the MTA because the trains are never on time. We got bigger problems.
Okay, so you care more about where your own money goes. Okay. But do you even care where men's money be going? And in this case, dealing with children that are not even theirs? Do you even care about the fact that men are spending money on kids that are not even theirs? So that just sounds a bit selfish to say you don't care about where other people's money go other than your own. It's men out there paying for kids that ain't even theirs. And that's all you got to talk about. We got bigger problems. A man serving time in jail because he couldn't pay child support. That's a big problem. And this is what you're talking about. I'm all for schools and MTMEs, whatever you want to do. But don't be selfish into thinking that, hey, your money is more important than anybody else's money. Because again, you got men out here paying for kids that ain't even theirs. So you got to consider those aspects, okay? Fair use.
We have bigger problems. I'm sorry. I'm not paying for no mandatory test.
Then in that case, you ain't fucking marrying my ass. I'm not marrying your ass in that case. You want to pay for a mandatory DNA test, then we ain't getting married. And somehow, some way, they're going to probably find a way to make you do it. And that's the kind of attitude you're going to have towards mandatory DNA testing. I can't imagine any dude want to take you seriously. It's just, oh, man. Fair use, people, fair use.
Let us understand why it's so...
Oh, yeah. Shout out to my girl, Chantel Simone. Chantel, raising hell, sweet like sugar, tough as a seashell. Shout out to my homegirl. Let's hear what she has to say. Love this woman.
Selfish of you women who debate and argue against these mandatory paternity tests, because we hear these stories time and time again. We see numerous clips of men presenting the DNA papers to their woman and say, hey, look, it's proof that I am not the father.
You are not.
And they still want to lie about the shit. Ain't that about something?
Lying, I'm the father of that baby, boss. Boss, I'm that baby's daddy. I'm baby.
I don't think there's any issue with a man taking care of another man's child.
Says who? Fuck, you been smoking, sweetheart. Oh, God.
Women do it all the time.
And like I just said, goddammit, women do it all the time. That's because those women choose to do it. They legally adopt a child. They legally sign some paperwork and agree to be the mother or caretaker of these children. That's not the same thing as paternity fraud, where you're deceiving a man into thinking that this child is his. It's not the same fucking thing. So goddamn, get it through your thick skull. They're not the same thing. Jesus Christ. I'm tired of hearing that because women do it all the time. Well, did you know that they choose to do it? They adopt these kids or whatever. There is no deceit. There's no dishonest. It's their personal decision. Men, on the other hand, are deceived into thinking that they get that these are their kids. It's not the same fucking thing. But let's continue. Fair use.
Whether you know or not, he might bring another child and say, "Oh, I had this out of our wedlock. You know, what are we gonna do?" Or he's taking your money and paying child support to another family. You had no idea. So when we're just like jumping, like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that." Hold on, it's already being done.
You could have been doing so many other things with your life. You could have been figuring your life out. I don't know, feeding pigeons. I don't know, doing anything. But you raising a kid that is not yours. I mean, if you had the option to know that was your kid and you wanted to raise that kid, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people do that. But when you don't know, you're doing it out of the obligation or the mindset that this is my child, I'm gonna raise him or her.
In other words, you're being deceived and thinking that this is your child, and it making you feel obligated. The fucking obligations are what's killing it.
Raise them up. I love them. This is my DNA. This is my blood. And then come to find out that's not your kid.
I mean, in all honesty, I think, with government, potentially passing a law to make DNA like a must, I think it works out for the best for everyone, in all honesty, because for a kid, I think the kid deserves to know who's their real mother and father.
Exactly. Thank you. And like I said earlier, it's the kids who are going to suffer at the end of the day. The same man you've been calling mom, you calling dad, it's not your real father. And now you spend years wondering who your real parents are. Unfucking believable. So this is definitely going to solve that problem. Fair use, fair use.
And if it's something that we start now, it's something that makes it an easier conversation down the road where it's not necessarily about trust, but it's just something that comes as a part of having a kid. I mean, you've already tested the baby to make sure that it's healthy. Why not test to make sure you understand who the parents are?
Very good. Long-term marriage is considered to be 20 years, while a short-duration marriage is less than 10 years. It's over with trying to file for divorce to gain benefits. There are millionaires who end up giving a ton of money to an ex who left them over 20 years ago. Can you imagine what 35% of your money is if you're a man earning a reasonable amount of money? That's a huge sum. And when you add to that the fact that in a divorce, she takes half of all your assets. It's only in this country that this has been seen. Finally, a fair law for men, as the woman said. Welcome to the Democratic Party. But the question for you, what do you think of this new law in Florida by DeSantis? What do you think about the possibility of this law being approved nationwide?
I'm all for it, honestly. I'm all for this new law being approved. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, sit tight. I'll be right back. Okay. Now here's my and now before I get and now we talked about paternity fraud. They're passing a law in Tennessee that's going to require every woman who gets pregnant to take a paternity test. Once again, anybody in the chat, the link is in the description. So if you decide to come back up, the link is in the description below. Feel free to come up and talk, and let's talk about this. If anybody wants to come up, they can feel free to talk about this. All right, now on to my next topic. We're talking about no-fault divorces. And this one's going to talk about, now for those of y'all that don't know, no-fault divorces are simply divorces where you don't have to explain anything to a judge. You know, it doesn't matter who did what. Just get divorced just because, well, y'all just tired of each other, plain and simple. That's the best way to sum it up. And now they're passing another law in the same state of Tennessee where no-fault divorces are no longer going to be eligible. Meaning you can't just divorce your spouse because you were bored with him. You got to prove that there was infidelity, prove there was abuse, the whole nine. Again, much like paternity fraud, they're trying to, it's just a law that's not going to benefit African-American women or women in general, I should say. And they're pissed off about the whole goddamn thing. It's like we live in a society where anything that doesn't make the ladies feel good and feel comfortable is considered oppression, which is the stupidest thing in the world. Freedom without structure is just a recipe for chaos. You want the freedom to be irresponsible with your womb, have hot girl summers, fucking everybody in the goddamn neighborhood. And then when it comes to taking care of your kids, you think you can just get anybody and everybody to take care of your kids. So I'm sorry to tell you, it don't work that way. You can do what you want with your body, your choice, but just know that there are consequences behind such fuckery. Just know that there are consequences behind such bullshit. Plain and simple. Consequences, consequences, consequences. That's just the way that goes. So now it's not so much about removing the freedom. It's about giving us structure. That's what it's all about. The structure. Who wants to live in a world where the average woman can commit paternity fraud and just get away scot-free and have a man taking care of their child that's knowing that that's not even his child to begin with? He's not the father of their child. Who wants to live in a world like that? And the same thing with no-fault divorce. Who wants to live in a world where women can just divorce a man without having to explain shit to the damn judge? Honestly, that's not the way it needs to be. Now they're passing laws in Tennessee that eliminates no-fault divorces. So now I got a video talking about that. I'm going to give more people time to come on the stream if they're out there. Hopefully nobody's out there sleeping. If you are, whatever, it is what it is. But thanks for your support anyway. But I got to get this off my chest. Now, here's another one. This one is called "The U.S. Wants to Remove No-Fault Divorce Laws and Prevent Paternity Fraud." We talk about paternity fraud, but let's get rid of it anyway. Women are pissed off, I can imagine. Let's see it. Fair use, people. Fair use.
All right, so those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate.
They want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced.
And with that being said, I have one little requirement. Just one little guy. Just one little thing.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
You gotta be rich.
I told my boyfriend that I am pregnant and I needed money to abort the baby. But actually, I gave the money to another guy that I like.
Are you fucking serious? You conniving piece of shit. Oh, God. Oh, man.
I've never seen a man that I fucking need. You're all replaceable. Don't ever get too comfortable and don't ever think otherwise.
Well, you ain't got to tell me twice. I've already accepted the fact that I'm replaceable. I've already accepted the fact that I'm replaceable. But guess what, sweetheart? Your monk ass is just as replaceable. You ain't the only chick out here with a beautiful body. So I can replace you just like that. Or just go my separate way and be on my own. Either way, I'll be okay. I don't need your monk ass. I may want you, but I don't fucking need you. Just know that a man with options doesn't need you. He just wants you. Plain and simple. Now, on to the video. Hold on. Fair use, fair use.
In this video, we're going to be discussing the fact that we are...
Oh, by the way, shout out to Dating Right. Dating Right. Shout out to this brother, Dating Right, for putting this content together. Let's see what he has to say.
Finally starting to see some changes come as far as state laws changing to...
Florida is a no-fault... Wait, hold on a minute. Florida is a no-fault divorce state. You didn't need to explain why our marriage ended. That's the way it is. Potential client, okay, I need a divorce. I don't like my husband anymore. That ain't gonna fly now. Can't use that bullshit excuse no more now, can you? Oh my God. Well, you can't use that little bullshit excuse anymore now, can you?
Give men some type of protection. And I know you guys have heard about the no-fault divorce law that they're trying to get rid of nationwide. Women are truly going to start feeling the pain. So, you know, we definitely going to get into it and break it down. I want to thank you guys ahead of time for hitting that subscribe button, liking the video.
To get a divorce.
Oh, ladies, welcome to
the review.
Now they're going after your right to get a divorce.
Oh, ladies.
Your right to get a divorce? No. Your right to it's not about going after your right to get a divorce. It's about setting standards as far as when a divorce is valid or not. Again, you can't divorce a man just because you're fucking bored with him. Now you got to prove infidelity or prove abuse. That's the way that goes.
Please, welcome to the consequence.
I want to take away your right to divorce. I'm just going to take away marriage altogether, plain and simple.
Of your own actions. Like y'all say all the time, we're in a patriarchy. That men control everything and we have all the power. Well, if that's true, did you really think we were going to go on letting you make divorce for profit and industry? We gave y'all power. And don't get it twisted. You didn't get it. We gave it to you.
Right. You had power one for us men. Correctamundo.
But the problem is that power we gave you, you're abusing it. As of now, women are initiating nearly 80% of the divorces.
Yep.
And the vast majority of them have no cause other than you someone else. And that's fine.
Or she's bored with you and wants you to just pay child support and fund her lifestyle. The whole nine.
I think you should have the right to do that. But I also think that if you want a divorce without cause, you shouldn't get a dime. You should not financially benefit for breaking your vows because you were bored. While I wish we could just make it so you get nothing when you leave, the courts would never allow that.
You're damn right they wouldn't.
So this is the next best thing. And ladies, look, I know you're not used to this thing called accountability, but I am very glad to see you're starting to. Enjoy.
Better.
And I think his data is correct. I've been researching it, and women do initiate far more divorces than men. So Texas GOP has added to its platform that they want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced. And Republicans all over the nation are pushing for this in other state legislatures. So I would advise young women today to not get married legally. Have a ceremony.
What's up, Angela C? Nice of you to join me. You're late, but okay. Better late than never, I always say, but welcome to the panel. And by the way, the link is in the description. Feel free to come up and speak your piece. In case you missed it, today's topic is paternity fraud and no-fault divorce laws. Feel free to come up and speak your piece on anything. But anyways, until then, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Have a ceremony. Have
Hold on.
I would advise young women today to not get married legally. Get divorced. And Republicans all over the nation are pushing for this in other state legislatures. So I would advise young women today to not get married legally.
So in other words, just have a ceremony and don't involve the government. Makes sense to me. That's what some people do nowadays anyway. Oh, you're here, Angela C? Well, welcome to the panel. Feel free to chime in on anything. Fair use, fair use.
Have a ceremony. Have a commitment with your partner. Have a nice wedding, whatever, but do not trap yourselves into the confines of the law with divorce, because when we say that they're not going to stop with banning transgender care and getting rid of gay marriage and continuing to oppress people of color. They're not going to stop with marginalized groups. They are going to go after women, eventually men, but right now they're going after women. And banning no-fault divorce is the most ridiculous fascist thing I've ever seen. It's another way to trap women.
Are you fucking serious? Angela, you hearing this? She says by getting rid of no-fault divorce, it's a way to trap women. Are you effing serious? Now, Angela C., aren't you a married woman yourself? And if so, how long you been with your husband? I'm just curious. And I'm asking this question because do you feel like no-fault divorce, banning no-fault divorce is just a way to trap women into marriages? Because that's, to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense to say. It's not about trapping. It's not about controlling. It's about structure. Now they got it to where you can just divorce your husband just because you're bored. That's all it is. You can't just leave your husband because you're bored. You said how? Damn, almost 20 years. Y'all been married since 2002, 3. Wow, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. But did you hear what this woman just said in the video? And by the way, you can hit the link and come on up here anytime you want to. I'm just saying. But did you hear what she just said? She said banning no-fault divorce is just a way to trap women. How? I don't fucking know. This is bullshit to me. How? I don't know. I really don't know. Because now I guess she feel like by banning no-fault divorces, now you have to put up with your husband and all his bad habits, whether you like it or not. She said because these women are going into it for all the wrong reasons. Absolutely. They're going into it for all the wrong reasons. They don't care about love. They don't care about admiration. They care about some other ulterior motive. Nowadays, people are getting married because it's for the novelty, just to say that they have somebody, just so they don't be single, and they want to have kids before they hit the wall and reach the point where they're going to be infertile, forcing men to go after younger women. I talked about that on the previous stream, older men and younger women. So yeah, it is bullshit. So yeah, you're right. When they go into it for the wrong reasons, you're damn right they're going to feel some sort of entrapment. But for those y'all that's doing it for the legit reasons, like you, my girl, there's no need to feel trapped, especially when you choose to be with said man. But anyways, fair use, fair use.
Another way to control women. And so honestly, as a 41-year-old divorced woman,
40-year-old divorced woman. You're a 40-year-old divorced woman and you're worried about no-fault divorce? Oh my God. I just can't help but notice that. You hear that? She's a 40-year-old divorced woman and she's more about no-fault divorces. I don't get it. Why do you even care if you're not even with a man right now?
The young women of today, don't trap yourselves.
Trap. There's that word again. Trap. Bullshit. Trap. Oh God.
Don't file the papers. Just be in love and have a commitment.
Well, there's always common law marriages. What do you think about that? Do you believe in common law marriages, Angela? Yes, no, maybe. But do you think people should start doing that? Like, you know, you dated somebody for some years or whatever. Y'all live together. So it's almost like y'all in a marriage anyway. So let's just call it what it is. It's just that. You think that should be a good solution? Let me know what you think in the comments below. But until then, fair use.
Man, please. Men have been talking about this for years. You can have a wedding and a marriage. You just should not get your local states and county courts involved with that. You guys can make up your own contract, agreement with you and her that if something happens to you,
What that said, the exact moment I realized I forgot the exact moment I realized that I forgot our marriage license. Wow.
You can get power of attorney, the finances or whatever. There's a separate bank account going to be put aside for her, whatever she needs, whatever you both need to feel comfortable. Just don't involve the government state in your marriage. It's
works for me. Leave the government and the state out of it.
Really none of their business.
All right, so those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate.
All right.
Because when people do paternity tests, 1/3 of the time they end up not being the father, and if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down. It's going to be dramatic, and right now they're starting to also add in things like maternity fraud is a crime, a punishable crime. So guys used to go to jail for not paying child support on a child that wasn't theirs, because the state wants to get their money, because if there is no father to pay for the child support, somebody has to pay for it. So they push it onto the nearest person that could be a father figure. And they're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud because it is such a rampant crime.
So I don't agree with a lot that they do in politics, but I agree with this one. The hustle is over. The scams are done. In the state
I already played this, but I guess I'll play it again.
Feel like, well, why should we have to do all of this? They should trust me, because y'all be lying.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, and Angela C, tell me you can attest to this. Think back to when you were in, I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Think back to when you were in middle school. One kid does something ignorant, dumb, and out of pocket, and guess what? The whole class get in trouble. And the reason why I bring up that analogy is because that's how I see paternity fraud and no false divorces. Think back to when you were in school, that one asshole did something wrong, such as bringing a weapon to school, and now everybody got to go through a security search, no matter who the person are. You didn't do anything wrong, but guess what? You got to suffer because of what somebody else did. So yeah, somebody brings a weapon, a firearm to school, and now you and your girlfriends got to be subjected to a security search, even though you did nothing wrong. And I mention that because that's how I see these paternity laws, these paternity laws, and these no fault divorce laws. They're changing them because a few dumbass bras fucked it up for a few good, legit women out there. So don't get mad at the system. Get mad at those dumbass chicks who ruined it for you. Bottom line. So now, because of these dumb broads committing paternity fraud by lying about who the father of their kid is and taking advantage of no fault divorces by just getting divorced because they're bored, now they got to change both of that stuff. Everybody is going to be affected. So next time, Angela, you have a child, you got to prove that he is the father. You say it's more than a few. Yep, it is. So now, the next time you have a child by your husband, you got to prove he is a biological father. And I hope this doesn't happen to you or anything like that. But now, when women get divorced, they have to prove that there was abuse and infidelity. And you know what? You might be innocent in all this. You might not want to do this, but now, because of the dumb bras before you and after you, you got to suffer with the rest of them, plain and simple. Kind of like in middle school, one person did something wrong and you and the rest of the class get in trouble. Yeah, because of his dumb decision, everybody got to suffer. Yep, that's what's happening here. Innocent people are suffering because of another person's ignorant ass decisions. But continue, fair use.
The women be lying.
Yep.
And if you know that this is his baby without a shadow of a doubt, husband, boyfriend, baby daddy, it don't matter who it is. Let them go and get that paternity test, sis. If you on the up and up, it shouldn't bother you.
It shouldn't.
And for all of those women out there faking pregnancy to scam men, ooh, y'all big man now, ain't you?
I think a lot of these late.
By the way, how can you fake a pregnancy? You just put a pillow under your stomach and act like you're pregnant? I don't get that, but okay. Fair use.
These should be shaking in their boots right now, and I love to see it. Hearing that a lot of these laws may become nationwide, I know a lot of ladies are horrified that they'll be held accountable for their bad decisions and actions. What type of woman would lie to a man and say, this is your baby, and she know it's not his baby, but she have a man thinking that this child is his and it's not? It should be a law for these women to con men. They should be prosecuted as well and charged with fraud or something.
Correct.
Feel protected under.
Okay, give me a second because an ad just popped up. Okay, here we go.
Have you ever cheated?
Yes.
Hold on. What the fuck is this?
Is and it's not. It should be a law for these women to con men. They should be prosecuted as well and charged with fraud or something.
Have you ever cheated?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Many times. All the time. I have. Yes.
Why?
Because we're bad bitches and we need to show the world.
So currently,
Oh my God. Because you're bad bitches and we gotta show the world. That's your excuse for you being a goddamn cheater? In that case, sweetheart, stay the fuck single. We don't need your little loose ass ruining it for the good women out here who want to get married and start families. Seriously, you're really fucking up the game. And by the way, Angela, please excuse my foul language, but now you know how I roll. When you come on my panel, expect to hear some foul language every now and then. I'll try my best not to curse around you, but expect a little bit of foul language. Okay, my girl? Okay. If you're still back there.
you have a main and some side hoes.
Background characters.
Some side hoes. Okay. How many background hoes do you have?
I was just like maybe 4.
So 5 guys total right now.
Did you just say 4? 4 dudes? Oh God Almighty! No.
Somewhat.
That you're
So, fellas, it's your lucky day because I am looking for a boyfriend.
Oh, you are, huh? What are you looking for in a boyfriend? Do tell.
And with that being said, I have one little requirement.
What is that?
Just one little thing.
What is it?
You gotta be rich.
Really? I gotta be fucking rich just to get with your basic ass. Oh God Almighty! Look how we falling.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to.
Damn, that's a lot of money for your retirement plan. Mine's damn near the same amount, but Jesus Christ, fair use.
I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that
They want to.
So look at what men have to lose when they get divorced. And 80 to 90% of the time, it's the women that do this. But look at what men have to lose because of this. It's just mind-boggling, don't you think? Anyways, fair use.
To get rid of no-fault.
So there's several states where Republicans are trying to get rid of no-fault divorce. If you're not familiar with no-fault divorce, this is the thing where you cite irreconcilable differences. Neither of us committed fraud, neither of us committed adultery or abuse or neglect, but we just don't want to be together anymore. So they're trying to get rid of that.
Get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity.
Damn right.
But let me tell you why this is a problem.
Explain yourself.
As someone who just went through a very high conflict 6-figure divorce in the state of Texas that was allegedly no fault, despite that there was infidelity involved that no one seemed to give a shit about. Did you hear what I just said? It was a no fault divorce. That means you're supposed to just split up the assets 50-50, right? Figure out what's going to happen with the kids. Like, it shouldn't cost 6 figures, right? Divorce is expensive. The only people who actually win in these situations are the attorneys, right? But what happened?
Not only do the attorneys win, but don't forget the women who divorce their husbands also win, more or less anyway. They get all their assets and leave the man with nothing, forcing him to start from the ground up. He can bounce back, but it's going to be a long, hard road for him. Fair use, fair use.
Because if you actually have to prove infidelity as a basis to be able to get a divorce, it's going to come.
And you know what? You do have to prove there was infidelity. No more of you just going around here saying, you know, it's your word against his. We've taken that power away from you now. The power to just lie and make false allegations against him. Now you got to prove your case the same way he got to prove his case. That's what you're big mad about. But fair use, fair use.
Cost you even more money because now you have to go through the process of discovery to prove that there was infidelity. Because I don't know how many cheaters are out there like, yeah, I did it. And Sure, you may be
It's a lot more than you think.
able to recover some of your community property once you've done discovery, seen bank statements, maybe found those hidden credit cards. You're entitled to your 50% of the community property money that was spent on the hoe, right? But it's probably gonna cost you just as much to find out how much was spent on the hoe by having to do discovery. So you're not really gonna get anything out of it anyways, potentially. But I think the even bigger issue that is probably not being considered here is the emotional toll this will take on women and men, if they're the ones being cheated on, of course. When confronted with their credit card bills, when you were supposed to be on a business trip, is this you at this hotel at this time with this person? And then maybe you have to sit through a deposition with a bitch. And then you hear this bitch talking about how she was having relations with your soon-to-be ex-husband. That shit is traumatic. So in addition to getting rid of no fault as a basis for divorce, divorce is going to become more expensive and more traumatic. Therapists better get ready, and lawyers are about to cash in. Bullshit.
And the fact that permanent alimony was ever a thing is just mind-blowing. I knew about the alimony payments that people talked about, but I didn't know it was freaking forever. If they implement
I think they got a law to where they're gonna stop all this paying for alimony forever. You pay for like a quarter of the marriage or whatever, or a portion of the marriage, and then that's it, you stop paying. So alimony, permanent alimony is gonna be a thing of the past soon enough.
all these laws in 50 states nationwide, I bet we see a change in women's attitude instantly. I bet they start talking different. They start listening. They start they will be humbled very fast.
I have no idea. Why are these people getting married? Because do these people even sound like a bunch of like-minded people that men would want to marry? Because to me, they honestly don't. Oh,
Looks
man.
like these women are going to learn what strong and independent is today. Men are glad to see these laws being put in place in several states.
You're
but
damn
this
right
need
we
to
are.
be in all 50 states. I'm going to close this video out right here. If you want to see more content, be sure to follow me on Dating Right.
Well, that's the end of that video. Very interesting one. So, Angela C., if you're still back there, what do you think about all this nonsense? So they're passing a law in Tennessee where paternity tests are mandatory. And they got another law that's going to eliminate the no-fault divorce law. So, wow. People want to call this trapping. It's only a trap. Well, it seems like a trap in your mind because now you no longer have the freedom to just walk away anytime you get ready to. Marriage is supposed to be about structure. It's supposed to be about mutual respect, kindness, physical, sexual, the whole damn nine. The only reason you feel trapped in a marriage is because you never had good intentions to begin with. Kind of like what Angela C. said earlier. They go into it for all the wrong reasons. So when you go into something for all the wrong reasons and it don't go your way, you're damn right you're going to feel trapped. It's just mind-boggling. I'm telling you. It's mind-boggling. But man, oh man. This was an interesting show, to say the least. I'm glad I got to talk about this. So now people know let's just pray to the heavens that this is nationwide, that this goes nationwide. Let's just hope that this actually happens. Gone are the days of women thinking they can just deceive men to thinking that their kids are theirs. Not only that, gone are going to be the days of women just divorcing their husbands just because they can. That's the reason why they're so big mad about this whole thing. We've taken that power away from them. No longer can they just do whatever the fuck they want to do. Now they got to abide by certain standards and certain regulations, just like we men have to. Now you got to prove there was infidelity. Same thing with the man. You got to prove there was infidelity. So, yeah. This is just crazy. Oh, man. Well, that's all the videos I have talking about this whole paternity fraud and talking about the no-fault divorces. I think it's going to I have faith that it's going to get better. I have faith. But anyway, this House Bill 2698. Let's hope it spreads to other states. Let's hope it spreads across the world or something like that. You say you love this. This is good news. Yeah, good news. Yes, it is good news. Again, Angela, the only kind of people who are hurt by all this are the people who just don't want to take accountability for their efforting. They want to do whatever the fuck they want to do and not have to hold themselves accountable. Instead, put all the blame on the man. And like I said earlier, these laws are put in place because of these dumb bras that make it look bad. You know, don't get mad at the system. Get mad at the stupid ass chicks who fucked it up for y'all. That's what you got to do. Get mad at those dumbass chicks who fucked it up for y'all good women out there. So now all of y'all got to submit the paternity test. All of y'all got to abide by the no-fault divorce, the elimination of no-fault divorce laws. This is for everybody. It ain't just y'all. Everybody got to go through it. Kind of like at a job where one employer does something wrong, now they got to change their policies that affects everybody. Happens a lot. One person does something wrong, a whole group can be affected. In this case, a whole community of people can be affected, or a whole state can be affected. It doesn't matter. One person's screw up can lead to a lot of other people being affected. It's nonsense. So yeah, you can't blame us for this. You can't blame the men in power for this. Blame your goddamn selves because y'all created this nonsense. We gave y'all an inch, y'all took a mile, and now we're taking that inch back. Yeah, same here, Angela. Hopefully this spreads across the United States. Because for those of us who legit want to get married, we got to hold ourselves to a standard. I say you are going to take a paternity test in the event that we decide to have kids. I don't know how many other men you've been smashing behind my back, if any. And when you're a woman of options, yes, I'm going to speculate that. So please don't take that the wrong way. You're a beautiful woman, so I know you get men. I'm not going to just trust you automatically to be faithful. No. You got to prove yourself. And that's the way it needs to be. But anyways, this was a pretty good show. I didn't get anybody to come up here and speak their piece, but I guess at this hour, everybody's at work, at school, not school. Everybody's out doing their thing. I'm thinking about doing a show tomorrow morning. I haven't decided upon a topic yet, but when I figure out a topic for tomorrow morning, it's going to be at least 9-10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to pick a topic and I'm going to talk about it. Or if anything, I'll just do another random reaction. I don't know yet. I'm trying to get this stuff to blow up. So I need y'all to like, comment, subscribe to your boy, Hustler and Muscular, also known as HNM. You said you wanted to, but you'll stay in the chat. You wanted to what? You want to come up and speak your piece on something? I mean, I still got time. You can stay in the chat if you want to, but I got time. Hold on a second. All right, then.
Can you hear me really good? I don't sound bored.
Oh, what's good, Angela C? You're a scientist. What's good, Angela C? How you be?
Yes, I'm doing good. It was funny listening to that woman as she was giving women advice not to get married. It's so funny hearing that because you always hear them say, "Well, what is wrong with getting married? It's family, it's tradition." But now that they can't use marriage for all the wrong reasons on their behalf, now they're speaking against it. So now it lets you know really men read they need to pay attention to that. That just shows you that they were in a marriage for all of the wrong reasons. Now that they can't abuse the system, now they are scared. So it's just funny seeing that. I was laughing.
Oh yeah.
'Cause,
You mean the woman? You mean
yeah,
she was talking about an attempt to trap and control women.
right. And I'm thinking if you feel that that's what marriage is about, then stay away from men and don't get married. Why get married? That just lets you know that they get married for all of the wrong reasons. The only women who probably don't have a problem with this are the ones who do they do care about marriage. They do value family. They're probably the only ones who are not panicking. All the rest of these people, yeah, especially women, they are on panic mode. And I'm really hoping these laws go across 50 states because I don't
Yeah.
understand why men are being forced to pay for kids that are not theirs. It's silly.
Yeah, it is silly. And like I told you, everybody must go through this. Again, sometimes you
Mhm.
can't get mad at the system. You can't get mad at the laws, the rules. Instead, get mad at all those dumb broads who basically fucked it up for y'all. Excuse my language, but get mad at them. Again, it's like being back in high school or middle school. One student did something wrong, all of us get in trouble. Kind of
Mhm.
like that.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's crazy how they view marriage as a trap. But hearing that is weird to me. I'm thinking if you view marriage like that, I don't understand why are people getting married. It's like I don't really understand. It's like why waste your time spending all that money walking down the aisle, buying the dress, buying the ring if you feel like it is a trap. It's not a
Yeah.
trap.
And like I said earlier, it's only a trap because you feel like you can't just walk away from it anytime you get ready to.
Yep. And you know what? I think that this would make people their morals. I think this would somehow make morals come back, like people doing what they are supposed to be doing. I think we might see less uh, bastard kids being born because now women are forced to be careful. You know what I mean? Like I think this would kind of force them to be extra careful about just being out there and just getting pregnant and just doing whatever because now these laws are coming into place. So I think that some way somehow this will shift the culture here in America.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that will be a wonderful start. It's already happening in Tennessee. So you say you're in California, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yes. California is very liberal.
Yeah,
Very
I can
liberal.
only imagine.
Yes.
So I have faith. If this is what they're doing now, I have faith that it's all going to work out. We can only pray for a miracle because
Yep.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure. Well, you came in kind of late, but there was a woman on that video talking about why shouldn't men take care of kids that ain't theirs because women
Oh
do it
my
all the time.
gosh.
I'm pretty sure you heard
Ugh.
that. Women do it all the
No,
time. What are
I've
your
seen
thoughts on
videos
that?
like that. No, I am totally against that. I am for people building their own families from scratch, so to speak. I am not for this people just out here doing what they want to do and then they're turning to the responsible person to clean up their mess. No, I am totally against that. I've always been against that. No, you have no children, get with a man or a woman who has no kids. Stop cleaning up people's messes. When you do that, then that lets these people who are out here doing what they want to do, that gives them the incentive that they can do what they want to do because someone will always be there to pretty much clean up their mess. Like well, I can do this and do that because then I can just find some guy who's going to take care of me and my kid, and they're going to keep doing what they want to do. I think it's time for people to understand you can't do what you want to do. This is cost affecting, and I had wanted to mention I honestly believe pretty soon they might cut this whole food stamp thing, this whole food stamp and GA stuff and um all of that. I don't even think our government has enough money, so they might be doing this because they're tired of paying for these kids and these women. But I think they're doing it slowly but surely. They're trying to creep it in slowly. I think that is what's happening.
Wow, could be. Honestly, I never thought of it like that, but hey, it's possible. Because like the guy in the last video said, they want women like yourself to be heads of the household because y'all spend the most money on useless bullshit that just more money in their pockets.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I've been telling people this before. I told them I had a feeling they might cut back on food stamps and then it might get to a point where they just might cut it off. Because with all of these illegal immigrants they got coming here, they also get food stamps and the little cash aid. And it's like, how are you helping them? And then you're trying to help all of these people who are U.S. citizens who also need food stamps and GA. I just think they're trying. I think they're trying to figure out a way how to cut off all of these benefits some way, somehow, and the only way they can do that, they know people morally have to get it together. So I think they're going to try to force people somehow, some way through the law to do that. So then maybe there's less kids being born and less people that they got to take care of. I don't know. I just think there's some that they're trying to sneak in. I could be wrong, but usually when I make predictions, I'm always right. It's scary. But so far, I think that is what's coming. I don't think these programs are going to be here long. So.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not gonna say cut food stamps completely because I've been on food stamps at one point. I think 10 years ago I was on food stamps when I got out the military. Fresh out of basic training, I had to sign off for food stamps before I got my actual job. So I'm not gonna say cut food stamps, but at least set conditions as far as who needs them and who doesn't need them, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just had this weird feeling that that's what they're trying to do, or maybe they're gonna somehow slowly sneak that in. I don't know. Because right now, America's not doing so well, economically speaking. So I don't know. Maybe they're, they plan stuff and then they just throw it out there. And okay, we're gonna do this and do that. And we're like, wait, what? Just everything coming out left field. But I just think this all ties in together. That's just me thinking ahead. So far, the future looks bleak, but still, I just hope these laws do spread, especially over here in California. My goodness, it's insane here. Something's
How
gotta
is it in
happen.
Cali?
Huh?
Now we're just saying, how is it in Cali?
It's terrible. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like everything is like it's kind of like a plane that's crashing. I don't know. It's just like it's getting worse, and it's like it's time to move. Because I was telling my husband, if we move, I want to move somewhere where there's not a whole bunch of people that are homeless, and you have the right to carry your guns, open carry. I don't know. It's crazy here. It's getting insane. I would advise anyone don't move out here. I'm serious. It is not the way it used to be. Things have changed
Is
a
it
lot
that
here.
bad? Is that bad
Yeah,
out there?
yeah, it
I
is.
mean, you're in California. What are you in San Diego, California, or
Sacramento. I'm in
Sacramento?
Northern
Okay.
Cali. Yeah. So I'm up here. But
I was told Sacramento's not that bad.
no, I mean there was a point in time where it wasn't that bad. Now you can't say that anymore. You cannot say that anymore. Oh, it's very crowded. The crime has went up like crazy. There's homeless people everywhere. I mean, when I say everywhere, they're everywhere. There's like certain people's neighborhoods where they go outside the front door and there's like 10 people in their tents right outside of their home. Like they don't even know
Oh,
where to
those.
put all these people. It's crazy, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow. I'll be on the
Yeah.
expressway. When I be on the
And
expressway, I'll be seeing them. When I be on the expressway, I'll be seeing them homeless people in those tents, like also the sides of the expressway, the little highway. They be in the little tents out there. I see that all the time in my own city, so I believe you.
yeah, there's a Starbucks that's not far from me. There's Starbucks, and there was a Jumbo Juice. I couldn't believe it. They closed them down because of the homeless. And I got a feeling they're gonna close down Walgreens because the people who work there have been attacked and they're going in there stealing like crazy. I'm like, damn, they just messing up for the rest of us. They, just come in and shop. I couldn't believe they got Jamba Juice and Starbucks closed down and they had moved to a totally different locations to spread. And I'm like, how did you guys get over here? So yeah,
Yeah, man, that
crazy.
does sound
Yeah.
crazy. I'm from Chicago, so it's kind of almost the same. Only the area I grew up in is not that bad, honestly. You just have to be careful out here. I mean, I wish you and your husband the well. If it's that bad out there, I wish you and your husband the best.
It is, and San Francisco's worse. San Francisco used to be the place to visit, which is San Francisco's 2 hours away from here, but don't even go there. My sister went over there a couple months ago, just to go out there, and she said Angel is not the way it used to be. I was like, really? She said, yeah. I was like, oh. And she was only out there for like a few hours, but she said it's like dead. It's crazy out there.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
that's what's going on out here.
But yeah, man, that is something. So, what are your final thoughts? Did you get your final thoughts? Your final thoughts on
Yeah.
this whole thing? Paternity fraud, no more no fault divorces, anything?
I think no fault divorces is also a good thing. We got too many people getting married and they're divorcing for silly reasons. It's like no. So I think with that, that can make people think twice before they get married and be careful who they get married to. Otherwise, just stay single. So that's also a good thing. And then the whole paternity fraud, I am for it. I hope they spread this law across all 50 or 52 states. How many states we have? It's a good thing. So I am rooting for it, and that's all I gotta say.
Oh, okay. I like it too. I mean, like I said, sometimes one person's screw up can affect an entire community, or in this case, an entire state worth of people.
Yeah.
Or in this case, one too many by one too many different people can really mess up an entire community. But man, oh man, I hope this gets better because I'll be damned if I gotta take care of a child not knowing if I'm the biological father. And I'm pretty sure you heard that story about that man that served 5 years in jail for not paying child support for a child that wasn't even his.
I've heard several stories like that. I'm like, that is not cool at all. That just makes you want to kill somebody.
Well, calm
I'm just
down, my
saying.
girl.
I'm just saying. Like, I think I will go insane. That's just not cool. But I'm gonna drop down and go back into the chat.
It's okay. Well, I'm gonna shut the stream down anyway. I'm in my 2 hour mark, about to be 2 hour and 30 minutes. So, and yeah, this stream stuff is still kind of new to me, so I'm still working out the kinks and how this stuff works. I think I got the bare basics down now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to share videos yet, but I'm working on that. Damn. Well, anyways, take care, Angela C. Take care. Thanks for stopping by on my show. Glad to have you up here. But yeah, this was a good show, all things considered. Oh yeah, glad you again. Thanks for stopping by, Angela. Again, I'm still trying to get used to this streaming stuff, but it was a good show. So yeah, that's my show. Paternity fraud and the no-fault divorces. If all goes well, this is going to spread nationwide. And I might try to do a show tomorrow if I can come up with a topic. If it's going to be like in at least anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, if I can find a topic. So yeah, anybody listening in, be sure to tune in for that show. Okay, until then, this is Hustler and Muscular, and you know what I do. Giving you the truth straight out the booth. Hit it out the park like Babe Ruth. But that's what I do. Take care. Deuces.